She stole the innocent child of her ex-boyfriend for revenge. What happened next will shock you. Hi fam! Welcome to Queen of Afro Tales. If you're just tuning into this channel, please subscribe, like, share, and click on the notification button. Cries of newborn babies echoed faintly through the maternity ward like little choirs singing in different keys. And a beautiful new mom. Amara lay on her hospital bed, exhausted but glowing, her body sore from the hours of labor. Yet her eyes never left the small cot beside her where her son slept, wrapped snugly in a white blanket. Every few seconds she smiled weakly, whispering prayers of gratitude. God, thank you. He is here safe. My baby is here. Chaik, her husband, hovered around her bed like a restless guardian angel. He adjusted her pillow for the 5th time, poured water into her cup, then picked up her wrapper from the floor. Baby, are you okay? Do you need anything? Should I call the nurse again? He asked anxiously. Amara chuckled faintly. Honey, please sit down. You need to rest too after hours of walking about in anxiety when I was in labor. Her younger sister, Ngozi, sprawled in the chair by the window, smiled and shouted. I go love oh. Once I see a man that will fuss over me this way, I will marry him. Chaik shot Ngozi a playful glare. You wouldn't understand. It's not just any woman, it's my wife. And that baby, he pointed proudly at the cot, is my legacy. Ngozi rolled her eyes. He's your legacy indeed. Sis, your husband is funny. They all laughed, and for a moment, the ward felt like home, warm, noisy, and filled with love. But as Amara leaned back on her pillow, she found herself drifting. Her eyes rested on her baby's tiny fingers, and memories rose, uninvited, like a film playing in her head. It started 4 years ago at a youth seminar. She had gone reluctantly, dragged by her church friend. She remembered seeing Chaik for the first time, tall, broad-shouldered, with a kind of smile that felt like sunlight. He had tried to start a conversation, but she brushed him off quickly. The next day, he appeared at her office. And the next. Sometimes with a plate of rice from her favorite buka. Other times with novels, because he had overheard her say she loved to read. One rainy evening after choir practice, she stepped out to find him waiting at the gate without an umbrella. I'll walk you home, he said, his shirt already drenched. Amara laughed at his stubbornness then, but secretly, something melted inside her. Her friends teased endlessly. This man no day hear word oh. He must marry you. Her heart warmed as she remembered their traditional marriage. Drummers beat the talking drums, announcing her entrance. She had worn a velvet red blouse and a wrapper with shimmering gold designs. Chaik, in his iziagu and red cap, looked like a king waiting for his queen. Her uncles sprayed her with crisp notes. Her mother beamed proudly as she tied Amara's geli tighter. And when Amara carried the cup of palm wine to Chaik, the crowd roared, clapping and singing. Aichianijimbiu so tudo. Then came the white wedding, the church filled with lilies and laughter. Amara, in her flowing gown, trembled as she walked down the aisle. But Chaik leaned close and whispered, I told you I'd never let go. The memory made her sigh softly in the hospital bed. So much love. So much promise. And now, this child, a seal of their union. Ngozi stood and stretched. Amara, I'm so hungry. Let me quickly buy rice before I faint. Brother-in-law, do you need anything? Chaik shook his head. No, just hurry back. I'll run home to pick a few things Amara needs. He bent over his wife and kissed her forehead. I won't be long. Soon, the room was quiet. Only Amara, her baby, and the hum of the hospital night. She stroked her child's cheek, smiling through her weariness. Your father really disturbed my life before I agreed to marry him, she whispered to the baby. But see us now. Her eyelids grew heavy, and slowly, she drifted towards sleep. The maternity ward had grown still, as if the night itself was holding its breath. The ceiling fan hummed lazily above, its blades creaking at each turn. A fluorescent tube buzzed faintly, giving off a pale, sleepy light that bathed the room in bluish white. Amara tried to settle into rest. Her body ached everywhere, her eyelids heavy, yet her ears remained tuned to the rhythm of her baby's breathing. Every small sound in the ward, an infant's distant cry, the squeak of slippers in the hallway, pulled her back from the edge of sleep. She shifted slightly, wincing at the sting in her waist, and adjusted the wrapper over her legs. In her heart, she whispered a quiet prayer. Lord, let my baby sleep through the night. Give me strength. Just as her body began to drift into that sweet half-sleep, the door creaked open. Slowly, too slowly. Amara's eyes flicked open for a moment, then narrowed to a slit. She expected to see one of the nurses, the slim, cheerful ones who had been attending to her earlier. But the figure that slipped inside was different. The woman was tall and plump, her movements calculated, almost like someone sneaking. She wore a nurse's gown, but it looked slightly rumpled, as though hurriedly put on. A surgical mask covered most of her face, hiding her nose and mouth. What made Amara's heart skip wasn't just the mask. It was the silence. Real nurses always greeted. Good evening, madam. How are you feeling? Do you need anything? They would check charts, adjust drips, smile at the babies. This one did none of that. Instead, she walked with slow, deliberate steps straight to the cot where Amara's baby lay. Her pulse quickened. Her body screamed for her to cry out, to shout, to ring the bell for the matron. But something stronger, instinct, told her to keep still. She forced her eyes to remain half-closed, feigning sleep, while her chest rose and fell gently. The woman bent over the cot. Her shadow loomed across the baby's small face. With careful, almost rehearsed movements, she slid her hands under the infant and lifted him. Amara's heart pounded. She wanted to leap, but her legs felt like stone. The woman adjusted the baby in her arms and turned toward the door. She moved lightly, as though hoping to escape unnoticed. It was then that Amara snapped her eyes wide open. "Excuse me." Her voice cracked, sharp but weak. "Where are you taking my baby?" The woman froze. She turned her head slowly. The mask twitched as she chuckled nervously. We need to check the baby's weight." "Yes, his weight." Amara's eyes blazed with suspicion. Her voice rose, stronger now. "That's a lie. My baby's weight was taken this afternoon." The woman stammered. I just the doctor. "Give me my baby," Amara cried, forcing herself to sit up despite the pain in her body. She stretched her arms forward, her motherly instinct rising like fire. The imposter hesitated, her eyes darting. For a tense second, it felt as though she might bolt, but Amara's glare held her in place. Reluctantly, she lowered the child back into his mother's waiting arms. Amara pulled her baby close, clutching him to her chest, her whole body trembling. She whispered, "Nobody will take you from me." The woman stepped back quickly, as if retreating. Without another word, she turned toward the door. Something in her body language screamed danger, and Amara's gut tightened. She opened her mouth to shout, but at that very moment, the door swung open, and there stood Ngozi, balancing a nylon bag of rice and fried plantain. As Ngozi pushed the door open with her shoulder, grumbling under her breath, the aroma of fried plantain rose from the nylon bag she carried. Hospital food is punishment indeed. See how tasteless a basic food like beans is here. Amara, see correct jollof rice and fried plantain for I got for you. She didn't finish her sentence. Bam! She collided with someone. The nylon tore, spilling the rice and plantain all over the white tiled floor. The intruder staggered, almost dropping her balance. Which cane thing be this?" Ngozi shouted, holding the woman by the arm. From the bed, Amara's voice rang out, hoarse but fierce. Ngozi, don't let her go. She's a thief. She tried to steal my baby. For a split second, Ngozi froze. Then her grip tightened around the woman's waist. Her small but strong hands dug in. And? You want thief, my sister Pekin? Over my dead body. The woman struggled violently, twisting like a fish caught in a net. The mask slipped a little as she pushed and pulled, but Ngozi planted her feet firmly, shouting at the top of her lungs. Help! Oh! Kidnapper! Somebody help us! Oh! The noise rippled through the ward like fire in a dry bush. Other mothers gasped and clutched their own babies tighter. One elderly woman on the next bed began to shout prayers. Blood of Jesus! The blood of Jesus covers us! Another patient fainted outright, her husband running in panic for water. The commotion grew louder. A young father ran out into the corridor yelling, Security! Security! Meanwhile, the intruder clawed at Ngozi's hands, trying to break free. Her gown tore slightly at the shoulder in the scuffle. Let me go, she hissed. Ngozi's eyes flashed with fury. Go where? You no day go anywhere today. If na soldier hold USF, e no go tight like this. The two of them stumbled into the center of the ward, knocking over a stool. The baby in Amara's arms began to cry loudly, sensing the chaos. Amara, though trembling, raised her voice above the noise. Please, somebody, call the nurses. She tried to take my child. At that moment, two nurses dashed in, followed by a hospital security guard. Their faces changed instantly as they took in the scene. The strange masked woman locked in Ngozi's grip, Amara's desperate cries, the scattered food on the floor. What is going on here? One nurse demanded. Ngozi shouted, dragging the woman closer to the light. She wants to steal our baby. Gasps filled the room. More relatives of other patients crowded the doorway, some peeking, some recording with their phones. Whispers filled the air. Jesus! In this hospital, they now come here to steal babies? Ah, God save us! The security guard stepped forward. Remove that mask. Let's see her face. The woman fought harder, shaking her head violently, but Ngozi held her like a vice. The guard reached forward, grabbed the edge of the mask, and yanked it down. And at that moment, the ward went silent. Immediately the mask fell out, the room froze. Gasps cut through the ward like sharp wind. Women clutched their babies tighter. Fathers shifted uneasily, and the nurses looked at one another in confusion. Amara's face squeezed with so much anger as she stared at the woman's face and shouted, Who the hell are you and what has my child got to do with you? Ngozi's voice vibrated with even more anger, and she echoed, Do we know you? Before Adiz could answer, the door swung wider and Chaik appeared, confused over the crowd near his wife and child. The moment his gaze locked on her, his face crumpled into rage and shock. Adiz, what are you doing here? Ngozi's jaw dropped. Wait, you know this woman? The people around blinked in confusion, while the nurses exchanged uneasy glances. Patients and their relatives pressed closer, their whispers swelling into a wave of shock. Adiz's chest rose and fell rapidly. Her eyes, red with anger and tears, darted around the room before locking on Chaik, who had just rushed in, panting, after hearing the commotion from the hospital gate. The moment her eyes found him, the dam broke. You! She shouted, her voice breaking. So this is the woman you've been hiding from me? The woman you gave the life that was supposed to be mine. Her voice cracked, raw with grief and madness. Amara clutched her baby tighter, her arms trembling. Her eyes moved from Chaik's stunned face to Adiz's furious tears. The words should have been mine pierced her chest like a dagger. The ward went into chaos again, but this time not with screams. This time with whispers. Nurses huddled near the door. Patients bent toward one another, their voices hissing low. Ha! Did you hear? Nah, his ex. Imagine, she almost stole an innocent baby for retaliation. Some women don't know how to handle breakup. One of the nurses shook her head and muttered to her colleague. This is why I don't trust all this fine men that always form perfect husband. Just see as Walla burst now. Another mother, still recovering on the next bed, clutched her own newborn and whispered to her husband, God forbid, hope your own ex will not show her face here too. The gossip burned around Amara like wildfire, and each word stung. She felt naked, exposed, betrayed. Adiz yanked her arm from Ngozi's grip and staggered forward, tears staining her cheeks. Chike, tell them, she cried. Tell them what I did for you. Tell them the truth. Chike's lips trembled, but no words came out. So she spoke for him. I cooked for you when you had nothing, Adiz wailed, pounding her chest with her fists. I gave you my time, my money, my body, my prayers. I washed your clothes, fed and accommodated you when you had no roof over your head, waited on you hand and foot. I even borrowed a loan from my office to start a business for you. Is it the way I stood against my own family because I believed in your future? Or the suitors I rejected because you said you'd marry me? Everybody gasped. Some women shook their heads, pity in their eyes. Others hissed. And what did you do, Chike? She continued, her voice shaking but loud enough to drown the whispers. You looked me in the eye, swore by God, swore by your father's grave, swore by everything you hold sacred, that I was your wife-to-be. You held my hands and said, it is you, Adiz, or no one else. And then, she turned sharply toward Amara, her lips trembling with venom. And then you abandoned me and married her immediately. Your business picked up. You married a woman you met in a few months over me that was there for you for over 7 years. The silence that followed was deafening. Even babies who had been crying moments ago seemed to stop, as if listening. Amara's stomach twisted. Her baby whimpered softly in her arms, and she pulled him close, her eyes burning with unshed tears. Chike finally found his voice. He stepped forward, his tone firm but uneasy. Adiz, I never promised you marriage. We dated, yes, but I was honest when it ended. I told you it wasn't working. You knew. You're a liar. Adiz screamed, tears streaming down her cheeks. You're a liar and a coward. The ward buzzed with whispers now. People shaking their heads, some pitying her, others condemning. Chai see shame. So this man had history with her? God, protect our babies. You told me nonsense. Adiz screamed. You fed me with lies and dreams, and when you were ready for your happy ending, you chose her. You didn't even have the decency to warn me before your wedding. Do you know how I found out? Through Instagram pictures. Strangers mocked and ridiculed me because my man that I carried on my head like gala left me after sucking me dry. Everybody gathered around gasped again. Nurses covered their mouths. Patients shifted uncomfortably. The gossip thickened. Instagram? Ah, disgrace. Chai na wickedness. She for Dawn move on, but see as heartbreak Dawn turn her to kidnapper. The head nurse stepped forward now, her face hard as stone. Enough of this madness. This is a hospital. People come here to deliver life, not to face death from wickedness. Security. 2 uniformed guards appeared at once. Adiz tried to resist, but Ngozi shoved her forward with a hiss. Carry her well. She has to explain to the police what an innocent did to her, that she came to steal him immediately after birth. But Adiz wasn't done. She twisted once more in Ngozi's grip, her voice breaking with desperation. Chike, look at me. Look me in the eyes and tell me you never loved me. Tell me you never whispered that I'd be your wife. Tell them how you still sneak out of your house to come and spend time with me even after you married her. Tell them how much you confess that you enjoy my sexual skills in bed, and that no woman has ever satisfied you as much as I do, including your so-called wife. Chike closed his eyes, his jaw tight and face flushed with shame. Yet he didn't answer. That silence was answer enough. The nurses gasped softly. The relatives murmured louder. And Amara, her heart shattered into a million pieces. Adiz continued to thrash and weep, her voice echoing through the ward. Chike, you ruined me. You ruined my life. One of the security guards, still gripping Adiz's arm, hissed. Why will a beautiful woman like you kidnap a newborn baby because of a man, when you can always get another man that will love and cherish? Madam, are you okay at all? Adiz jerked against his grip, wild-eyed. Shut up. You don't know what it feels like to give your heart, your youth, your everything to a man, only for him to cast you aside like dirt. He promised me marriage. He promised me the world. Then he ran to her. She jabbed a finger toward Amara, who flinched, and built the life that should have been mine. The guards hurriedly dragged her out as she kicked and screamed. Patients craned their necks to watch. Some shook their heads in pity, others in judgment. Fine girl way suppose marry well. See where heartbreak dawn land her. Nah so desperation day disgrace person. Amara's throat tightened as she sat on her bed, trembling with disappointment, humiliation, and shock as she held her baby tightly. Her eyes burned with questions she wanted to fling at Chike. Why didn't you ever tell me? How did she know who I was? How did she know that I was here? But her lips refused to move. She couldn't look at her husband either. Her mind buzzed with only one question. What else has he hidden from me? Who else is he cheating on me with? Why did he even come after me in the first place, knowing he had a woman like Adiz in his life? And as Adiz's cries faded down the hallway, swallowed by the approaching sirens of a police van, Ngozi's anger burned like an inferno. She had always been the one ready to fight for her rights and that of her loved ones. Unlike Amara, her sister who makes peace even when offended. She turned to Chike and said, so it's true. You opened the door for your rabid dog of a lover to come after my sister and her newborn son. You swore, Chike. You swore to love, cherish, and take good care of my sister when you came to marry her. And this is happening barely 1 year into the marriage? While my sister was battling with her life, to give you a son you were busy resting in the bosom of a woman you didn't deem fit to wife. My sister didn't come after you to marry her. She didn't trap you with pregnancy to weed her either. It was you who moved mountains to convince her to marry you, and this is what she gets in return? When I'm done with you, nothing will be left of you to play another woman. You're definitely not worthy to be a husband to my sister, nor a father to my nephew. The ward was no longer the same. The gossip still floated in pockets like smoke after fire. Some patients were quiet, pretending to focus on their babies, but stealing glances at Amara's bed. Others still whispered in corners. Chai, so not true love triangle we just watched live? Nah why some exes no day forgive. Better pray say your husband, no carry hidden story come marriage. The nurses tried to hush them, but even their own tongues itched. Two of them whispered by the doorway, stifling laughter. Did you hear the way she shouted about Instagram? Ah, women day suffer. But a beg kidnap? That one too far. Amara heard them all. Every word was a knife. She sat upright on her bed, her baby nestled against her chest. Her eyes stayed fixed on the tiny face breathing softly in her arms. She dared not look at Chike. Chike stood at the corner of the room, sweating. His shirt was damp, his face pale. He took a hesitant step forward. Amara, please listen to me. I didn't know she would. Don't! Amara's voice cracked like glass. She didn't raise her head, but her tone was sharp enough to slice through the room. Ngozi, sitting by her sister's side, folded her arms and glared at him. Don't even dare come close to myself again. You're not just unfaithful, you're equally stupid. You told your side chick everything about your pregnant wife down to the hospital she attends, And you didn't suspect she could cause trouble. Get out of here before I change it for you. Chaik dragged his hand over his face. I swear, Ngozi, I had no contact with her. I blocked her years ago. I didn't even know she was still. He stopped, his eyes darting helplessly. Maybe someone else told her about the delivery. I don't know. Ngozi hissed loudly. You must think that I'm naive and innocent like my sister to believe those lies you just spewed. You left a wound open. Now you act surprised that it is smelly. Chaik turned back to Amara, his voice trembling. I love you. You are my wife, my everything. Adiz was my past. You are my future. Please believe me. Amara finally lifted her head. Her eyes glistened with tears, but her expression was cold. If I am your future, why does your past still find me here? In the place I am weakest, with the child I almost died to bring into this world. Chaik's lips quivered. He had no answer. Ngozi reached out and squeezed her sister's shoulder. Don't stress yourself, dear. Don't waste tears on him. Just focus on your child. That is who matters now. The baby stirred softly, stretching his tiny fingers as if agreeing. Amara pressed her lips to his forehead. In that moment, she felt clarity. The chaos, the betrayal, the gossip. It all faded into background noise. What mattered was the small, fragile life in her arms. She rocked him gently, whispering, My son, my miracle, no one will ever take you from me. Not lies, not heartbreak, not even death. I will guard you with my last breath. She wiped her tears quietly and said, Chaik, please leave me alone. The last person I want to look at now is you. Just go. Chaik bowed his head in silence and shame as he walked out of the ward to go sit under a mango tree in the center of the hospital garden to think of how to make things right with the virtuous woman he married. He had always known that she was too good for him. In fact, her kindness, humility, beauty, and good character were the things she saw and swore to make her his wife, ignoring the fact that he had dated Adiz for years. In the corridor outside, the sound of police boots echoed faintly. Adiz had been handed over, her cries fading into the night. Her story would scatter across town by morning. Another scandal, another warning. But inside the ward, Amara sealed her vow in her heart. As her baby yawned and nestled closer, she whispered again, this time with fire, You are safe with me. Always. The fan above creaked, the fluorescent buzzed, and the night pressed on. But Amara knew nothing would ever be the same again. She needed time to recover from childbirth and decide the way forward. What do you think of this story? Do share your thoughts with us on the comments section and tell us where you're watching from.